Hey everyone, thanks for watching me paint today. My name is Bonnie Ferguson and I am an artist from North Louisiana, and I am so thrilled to be participating in this Spring Arts Festival online edition 2020. Some of you guys know me and some of you guys don't, and so I am thrilled to be sharing my work with my friends, and I am thrilled to be sharing my work with those of you that I don't know. I'm just gonna start. I am working on illustrations for a book. This book is one that I wrote. I found a publisher and they are anxiously anticipating my delivery of my drawings. This is my storyboard, kind of where I'm going with it for the first 8 pages. I've got my first 4 pages drawn out here. I've done a little bit of prep work. I don't know if you can see all these too well, but I'm trying. So today, and yeah, as you can guess, Mabel and Erda is about a little girl who is kind of adventurous and meets herself a Sasquatch, and they become good friends. So I am working on a soft press watercolor paper. I'm hoping that this has the density to stand up to these golden acrylics. I am hoping not to lay it on too thick on this paper, and so I'm going to take a little liberties here. I have got some masking fluid that works for watercolors. All of my supplies today, since we've been on shutdown, are thanks to the Fine Line. They were totally awesome. They had everything that I needed. They brought it out to my car. Y'all, if you need any art supplies, please holler at them down at the Fine Line. So what I'm going to use this for, this is the funnest thing. So you paint this masking fluid anywhere that you don't want color. I'm going to be using these as kind of watercolor to get kind of a wash for my background, but I don't want to sit here and do layer after layer on this paper with my character. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and put this everywhere that I don't want to paint for my backgrounds. I want to keep my backgrounds really light with the washes. I don't want these to look like I've spent 20 hours on each painting. I want there to be room for that wonderful unfinished look I go for sometimes. I want there to be room for activity. All of these are full of energy, and I want to express that by keeping my paint fresh and thin and not overworked. So I'm going to go in here now and get this on a little brush. It's kind of gross. Kind of looks like, it's like liquid latex. It's like, I don't know, some people don't think that looks gross. But so I want Mabel to not have any paint on her. And so I'm going to carefully paint just what I don't want to have any wash on. This is going to dry and leave a really cool surface that you pick up with an eraser. It's the funnest stuff. If you haven't ever worked with watercolors before, or if you'd like to experiment with negative space, this is definitely the medium to do that with. So I don't want any of Mabel to get colored in my background on this one. I'm going to go ahead and color her skin, her pants, everything. Oopsies. Oopsies. It's okay. I feel like I might be using too little of a brush. This could be painstakingly long, but so I don't know how many of you know about the right brain, left brain, but it gets kind of hard to talk when you're concentrating deeply on a task like this. So I'm gonna radio silence here for a minute while I finish this. I don't know if you guys know what I look like, but Mabel definitely has some resemblance to me. Okay, so that's kind of the gist of this masking fluid for these purposes right now. You can kind of see what I'm going for. I'm kind of trying to fill in her skin. I'm going to go down here and touch on this little alligator guy. I don't know if you can see him, but Mabel's kind of taunting this alligator down here. She's like, nope, can't get me. And so I tried to make him look kind of friendly, like he's not really gonna eat her. In the story, Mabel is fond of animals a little bit more than she is of humans, perhaps, and that's okay, huh? So this alligator is supposed to be friendly, but not too friendly. She's not gonna go hang out with him, but he's definitely trying to be her friend. All right, we got Mr. Alligator covered. And since I like to work on multiple pieces at once, I'm going to do this, I'm going to let him dry, and I'm going to work on another one while I'm waiting for this to dry. So let's move it along here. Okay, so I have got this one. This is Mabel finding a frog. And I want to do a real light abstract kind of background on this one. So I'm going to go with a wash, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pre-wet my paper, and this is just giving that wet color more room to flow and kind of do its own abstract thing as I place it on this paper. So in the back here, I'm imagining this is going to be just it's going to be green. She's going to be outside. She's in the forest. This background right here is probably going to be, might go in later and add some detail, but with the cool thing, I got that liquid masking tape on there, and you probably can't see it, but it's waterproof, so nowhere that I'm going over this is picking up the water. It's not settling there, it's actually kind of avoiding it. I'm going to make sure that this area gets plenty of background. I don't want to leave anything in there that's not. Lots of water, just dampen it with paper. So she's going to have green background and then green grass. So I'm going to go with 2 different shades of green. Thinking maybe the one that's far off, I might, I'm not sure if I want to go warm or cool. I'm probably going to go a mixture. Let's get some of this color. Oh yeah, that's fun. This is green gold. I'm digging it. And since I've got that masking fluid on here, I don't have to be so precise around my forms. It's not gonna go into her arm. I can just kind of let it flow. Get some of that color up here around her face. So, oh, I already love what it's doing back there for these trees. I want it to be real light. I want this to just spark the imagination of the child and lead them to kind of answer their own questions about the surroundings that Mabel and Erda are going to be in. Still see my pencil marks, but I'm going to go back with an eraser and get a hold of those. Okay, I'm going to put some green on this ground now. I'm going to use a little bit more of like a grass green. Oh boy, look at that. That was fun. Got some little flowers over here. I'm going to come back and do some flowers. I'm going to do a similar thing for the rest of my backgrounds. Oops, little damn. Let's get that out of there. I don't want extra on this paper. I'm trying to keep it thin and light so that it can hold up to it. I'm going to have some bending, but you know, it'll be fine. So there is the first one of Mabel. Okay, moving on to another background. Let's see what I got here. Let's let this guy dry flat, hopefully. This one's going to be fun. So in this picture, I don't know if you can see, there we go. Mabel has just bumped heads with a Bigfoot. And Bigfoot, I was picking blueberries, and Mabel was picking frogs. So this one is going to be a lot more close up. I've pretty much just outlined my image so that none of the green gets to where I want the hair. Just helping me to stay in the lines a little bit. Yeah. So I'm going to do this light wash on the back of this one, Try to get in some of these places. And just get rid of some of that tonal white. I probably won't do a lot of detail on the background of these, but certainly don't want that white to come poking through. Some of my stuff's not dry over here. I'm going to try to avoid that as best as I can. Well, these frogs are going to be green. I'm going to have to pick a different color to do my frogs. And it's so helpful having that masking fluid there and just having that confidence that I can be free with these strokes and know that it's not going to bleed into my drawing area or anywhere that I don't want it to go. Free and easy with that background. And keep it light. Light and free but deliberate. Ba-bam. I love it. You know, come to think of it, it probably wouldn't have hurt my frogs to have green on them, but when I go to paint them, I'm going to be using more opaque colors. Just some beautiful abstract green. Okay, so I have let this dry for a while and my masking fluid should be really dry. And as you can see, I've done a lot of work on this one actually. So I'm ready to take that masking fluid off and get into the details of my girl and her mama. So I wanted to show you how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to take an eraser and I'm just going to start pulling at it. You know, there's other kinds of erasers that they make that are way better at this. But once you get it, you can just kind of pull it off. There's this big eraser that's like a big triangle, rectangle that just pulled it right off. But it's coming off. Let's see, and then you can use the rest of it to kind of pull. It's such a fun material. There's so many applications. Get this. So once I've got this all pulled off, my paper underneath, everywhere I had it, will still be paper white. And there will probably be pieces that I missed, and I'll be like, oh no, but it'll be fine. Isn't that fun? Okay. So, let's start painting. Okay, so I have finished my first 5 illustrations and I'm moving on to my second set of 5 illustrations. I'm working on them at the same time because that gives me time to keep working while things are drying. I'm not really satisfied with the color that I fixed up for my Sasquatch, but this is going to be a first layer to kind of get that white gone. And since my paint is opaque paint that I'm working with, I shouldn't have any problem going over it and getting the color saturation that and the hue that I want for this. So been working on these, coming along. I'm hoping to get to a point where I can show you how I like to go back in with the pen and ink and show you some of the finished pieces for this story. So, by the way, if you're interested in getting a copy of this story when it is done, I can't really give you much information other than my publisher, which is Warner House Publisher. They're out of California. No, they're out of Arizona. You can find them on Facebook. I think they would love it if you liked their page to keep an eye out for news about this story, and I would appreciate it too. So almost done with this guy. Well, this iteration. Can't really tell where his arm's at. I might want to add an arm in there eventually. I think I'm gonna put it in right now. I'm gonna put an arm over here. It doesn't look right without an arm. I wish it did though. But we're gonna put an arm in. It's a furry arm, so it's okay if it's not shaped right. It's furry. It's supposed to be. Look at it, and there's an arm. Yay. I'll put it in there. So I'm gonna just quickly siphon over here and go into my other one. I need some brown on this lady too. Ooh, so dark. Oh, what have I done? Oopsies. Oh goodness. Let's fix that. That's just unsightly. Whoopsie daisy. I think Mabel and Arda is just the sweetest little story. I'm so surprised that it came out of my head. Um, it's about communication. Mabel is used to making friends with all kinds of animals, but it might not always be what the animal wants to do to be carried home in her pocket. And no matter what Mabel does, she can't get this Sasquatch to move. She pulls on her arm, she tugs at her feet. The Sasquatch won't move. So what does she do? She lets the Sasquatch be itself. What does the Sasquatch do? She can't make the Sasquatch do what she wants, but she can watch the Sasquatch do what the Sasquatch wants to do and find out a way to communicate and play with her that way. Okay, I'm moving on, trucking through these illustrations. Thank you so much for watching me draw and paint these critters. This is really fun. I work in great big circles, so I would like to take the time to show you one that I pretty much completed. This is a scene where Mabel is trying to convince Erda to come home with her, and Erda's more interested in this little butterfly over here. She's like, oh, nature. Put some color on here. Anyway, so the technique that I'm using for these illustrations is, of course, water, kind of like lightly watercolored acrylics, and then I'm going over it with pen and finishing it out with the details. And I love that I can basically do whatever I want, illustration or art style, since it is my book. So I'm just going crazy and enjoying myself. But this is Erda. She's all done and she's going to be a part of the story. Anyway, I thank you guys so much for tuning in today. And once again, if you're interested in reading this book and buying it for someone you love when it's all said and done, you should be able to find it by Warner House Press. You can find them on Facebook. They're out of Arizona. Anyway, have a great day. Thank you.